Welcome to the third episode of the IGBC Green Talk series, Living Green with IGBC. Today's podcast topic is not just something that is aspirational, it is absolutely essential for today's climatic condition. Yes, we are talking about net zero buildings. Moreover, we have already been labeled as the indoor generation, wherein we spend over 90% of our times in one built environment or the other. This could be a school, this could be a college campus, this could be a commercial space, this could be a mall or your own home. But 90 to 95% of our time is being spent there, which directly corresponds to immense amount of dependency on energy resources, on water resources, on waste that we generate and the larger built environment. Today we have with us a man who saw this future 2 decades ago. This building, the iconic Olympia Tech Park at Guindy, has achieved the net zero energy status, has also achieved the near net zero water status, and is on the way to achieve zero waste to landfill status. We have with us Mr. Ajit Chordia. Welcome to the show, sir. He's a distinguished real estate developer and an entrepreneur, currently serving as the managing director of Olympia Group. With over 4 decades of experience, he's led landmark projects such as Olympia Technology Park, along with numerous IT parks, residential developments, and townships across Chennai and Calcutta. A strong advocate for sustainable development, Mr. Ajit holds a mechanical engineering degree from the College of Engineering, Guindy, and is widely recognized for his leadership in corporate governance across multiple organizations. He has served as chairperson of the IGBC Chennai, serves as chairman of CII Chennai Zone, and is a former president of Chordia, Tamil Nadu. Question to you, sir. If somebody back in 2006 had told you that Olympia Tech Park one day would run with over 95% renewable energy, would you have smiled and politely walked off?
I wouldn't say smiled. I mean, there was, it wouldn't have been possible with the regulatory framework then, nor was there any industry requirement. We were only at the infancy stage of sustainability. Around 2004, 2003, 2004 is the green building movement started. So there were a lot of other things which we had to probably, look at taking care of. So this was not a priority. But then when you are told, in my first meeting, if my consultant would have told that let's try for 100% or 95% renewable, I said it was not possible. Who's going to make such an investment and then take it forward?
So brings me back to the point. Back in 2003, green building wasn't such a known jargon or a commodity. When you met other contemporaries and told them that I am going for a green building, what was the kind of response that it evoked? What did they make of it?
It's the first is, we'll cut this into 2 parts. First, why and how I embraced this sustainability concept. And I am an engineer. So to that extent, it gave me an edge over other finance people to appreciate the power of technology. So when I moved from automobile, I was before coming into real estate for 20 years, I was in the auto retail trade. We were dealers for Maruti, Bajaj, and and we had an auto dealership which was on from 1960s. So I had at that time almost 40 years of auto retailing background which was there, the legacy which I had carried forward. From there I moved to the real estate. When I moved to real estate, I said, I'm new to it. How is it that I will differentiate myself with other developers? And in IT was taking off in Chennai. In India itself, Bangalore had taken off. And we had all pan-India developers here. I said, if I need to sell my product or I need to offer my product, I need to be something different. That is when the concept of sustainability was sold. And I immediately grabbed it. So this is how my green journey started. And coming to the technology which was there, the second aspect which was there, if I was talking about green, I remember one of my neighbor which was there, he was also looking at promoting a green building and not a green building. He was also looking at promoting an IT park. So the realtor who was there, one of the IPCs, he said at Olympia Tech Park, this is the rent, your project, this is the type of rent which you will be able to achieve. He said, why my building will achieve a lower rent? Sir, that is a green building. He said, we'll add some more trees in our project, no problem. So that was the concept of green then. That green means you add little more trees and probably the whole thing becomes green. over a period of time today, that differentiating factor is not much. Almost everyone is adopting.
My next question. Today, Olympia Tech Park is synonymous with Fortune 500 companies occupying your building. You have already given me the realtor's perspective of what a green building is. But what was it in 2005-6 when you actually pitched this concept to a potential tenant? How did they start?
I'll just tell you, my daughter is a molecular biologist. So when she speak what she does, my wife says, beta, what you say sounds very good, but I'm not able to comprehend. I would say that in 2004-5, when the green was there, I would personally go into it because I had gone into every aspect of sustainable, because I was the only person who would be able to appreciate this, I believe, in my office, because all other were finance people. And I knew karke, whether it was a glass, whether it was ACC block, whether it was an overdeck insulation, whether it is VFD, whatever was to be invested in technology, I would be there. That, sir, we have to pay so much extra, we have to pay so much here, we have to have this one. I would be there to take it. And so I would give the presentation to every client, because that was my first project. So when I would give the presentation to the client, most of the client, it sounded good to them, and they would discount the savings which we had projected and then take it back for evaluation. I had only one particular client. He was a European client. It was a bank, a European bank, which had taken, when I was giving a presentation, he was the only person. He said, boss, please stop. I know all these particular things. I just hope this thing works in India.
Fast forwarding 20 years later, today we are seeing all these IT buildings getting a pre-certification done so they can woo all these MNCs to occupy their building, giving them a list of all the sustainable features that have been incorporated and whether renewable energy is integrated, whether it's going to be a gold or a platinum. Now all this back-end work is happening. What are the stark differences that you see?
You see, today the clients who are there, the global clients, most of them are having their own targets which are there. So they have their own, the requirements. So today any large RFP comes, say for a 250,000 square feet or so. I wouldn't say about 20,000 square feet, 30,000. They are the smaller occupant. Any large, it's an hygiene factor. Their RFP itself will have all these particular things on, not only on just energy which is there, it will be on air, water, and the entire gamut of sustainability and governance. Even that gets added today by the larger occupants which are there. It just, the awareness is so high, and there is no way today a good, a Fortune 500 company we need to attract. We cannot have anything which is less than what is required by any of the companies in US or any of the new projects which are there in any part of the world. Technology.
So that brings me very interestingly to the next question. Technology scouting back in the day. Today, at the click of a button, we know that these options are available. If I say low E glass, I get 10 options in front of me. What was it back then? How did you make these choices? Number one. Number two, you're saying that data and integration is making a huge difference. I mean, I'm taking a look at it from a very, very practical perspective. It helps me save a lot of time and get to the point ASAP. But back in the day, how did you actually get to evaluate all these various technologies and get to a point wherein you could say that this is the best possible option given the cost and incorporation or implementation constraints that are there on site?
See, back then there were not too many products available. Second, we would not try something which is new. Even then, the consultant offered that I will give you a treated fresh air machine which will have some sort of a salt water coming and doing this. I said, boss, I'm not able to comprehend what you're trying to say. No, this comes from Israel. I said, boss, no, I would like to try tested and proven ones which are there in India is what I'd rather look at. Our homegrown power agencies which is there, power, the systems which are there. In fact, I visited. I didn't know how this whole treated fresh air is going to work, how the heat, heat exchange, what is it? Wheel which is there.
HRW, the
heat recovery wheel which is there. How is that going to work? I personally visited the factory of this supplier in Gurgaon. I saw to it, yes, these fellows know the technology, what it is. It is pretty good. And believe me, today, it has paid many times over.
For the benefit of the audience, this particular technology that you just spoke about, the heat recovery wheel, which has the potential to extract the chillness from the outgoing stale air. The incoming air, which is rich in oxygen, is very hot and humid. The outgoing stale air is actually rich in carbon dioxide, but it's also chill at the same time. So this heat recovery wheel has the potential to take the cold fraction out of it and pre-treat the incoming hot air, and that's energy saving again. So all these factors have already been incorporated into the building. So theoretically, sir, I see most of these technologies. I mean, if I do a AI search today saying 10 things that my building needs to have in order to become green and decarbonize, I think all those 10 things are there in our building. Now, what's next?
No, there is no end to innovation. As far as technology is concerned, it is galloping. So we have to be, a few steps ahead, which is there. I don't believe that I have the power to be, very proactive, which is there, or being innovative. At least I would like to be something like a good follower. If something which has been established, adopt that particular thing. I will not sleep on my past laurels which are there. Anything which is new, I gave my mantra which is there. It has to improve the quality, it must add to the safety, and it must save cost. If these three things are achieved, I will go for it.
Many ways, this is again rephrasing people, planet, and profit. The triple P bottom line of sustainability. If a technology caters to my people, if it is not just a lab solution but actually can be deployed at scale at a profitable way, then you're always up for it.
Yes, I fully agree. This is my mantra. But in today, so many tools are available in terms of like AI, which is there. You don't really need a long time. You don't need a past data which is there to then to bring in this particular new technology. How it is going to have an impact at a press of a button, matter of minutes or hours, we should be able to get this particular data. You were sharing with us about how the satellite data is available on a real-time basis, or at least a 3-month-old data is available on the time of a day basis, for the year basis, for the month, for the week. So things have become much easier for us to look at, evaluate the technology and how it is going to have an impact. I think there are very interesting days. The AI is a game changer. We are definitely looking forward. At Olympia and all my facilities, we are trying to have a centralized control room by which we will monitor the performance of each of the building, use whatever AI and other tools are available by which we are able to predict how the occupancy is going to behave, how the temperature is going to behave, how we can integrate the occupancy, temperature, quality, water, the air quality. We are just trying host of other things by which we are able to give great experience to our occupants.
Or in many ways, what you're telling me is that you're not depending on past data to define how your system works. You are actually going to be working on real-time live data to control these systems and get your savings on the spot.
It's not only savings which are there, it's going more than that. Like you said, people, planet and profit. So all the three aspects is what we would like to build and then take it forward. Today, even if I have an IIT incubated company coming and telling me that, sir, I have developed this is what it is going to do. I just have to look at the concept which is there, evaluate the product, whether it is technically feasible or not. If it is technically feasible, I will adopt that particular technology. I'll pay the price. Then I would only depend on, big brands which are there. Yes, they have the technology. Today, I will not mind even if some young boy comes from a 25-year-old or a 23-year-old boy comes from a college and he says, sir, this is what it is. I'm an incubated company here, or I'm in the accelerated program of this particular thing. I'm a startup. I'm coming with technology. I'll adopt it. So between then and now, this particular change is there because we know from the time he has developed a product to the time he is going to bring in, the time is very short. You don't really need to have too many trials which are there. There is a proof which is there. He would have proved it in a lab. There would have been before that simulation, and today live. If we are not going to give him an option, who's going to give the options?
Fantastic. I think there is a journey wherein you made all the right choices up front that translated into a high performance building, and over the years you didn't stop there. You have actually taken a look at technologies that can constantly help you decarbonize, which means your consumption keeps coming down.
See, like I told you, this particular building has been our flagship. It's been a cash cow for us, and thanks to the technology which this particular building has been able to adopt from day one, the performance of the building itself has been better than what was anticipated. And I need to maintain that, because if not, we would be left out. So it is a 20-year-old building. I've been telling my people that should we go in for retrofitment, should we go in for replacement, what is it that we need to do? The views which I've been getting, it's no sir, all the equipments are performing. There is no great technology which is there by which we are going to see. I believe in ROI. If I need to invest in anything, there has got to be, either it must improve the quality, either it must contribute to the safety, and it must be paying back for itself. If it is not going to fulfill these three aspects, I just don't invest for the sake of technology. If there has got to be a quality, safety, and cost benefit. Without that, I am not going to pay a premium for any technology. This I've been clear from day one. Even in 2005, when we were going for any other technologies, there are 10 items suggested to us. Go for this, go for this. I said, boss, if there is a payback either to me or to my occupant, within a period of 3 years, I will adopt it. I will not go something which is going to pay me in 10 years time, then it is not a payback, because I'm not going to see whether the technology will survive for that long or not. So I've been following that particular mantra. 20 years, I need to maintain my particular building. I need to ensure that I continue to maintain the premium position. We are one of the few parks which have been having 100% occupancy for almost 20 years. If at all, in 20 years average, if I take the vacancy would not be even 0.5%. Less than 0.5%, because even before a tenant vacates, we would have either the existing occupant would have given that give me a first right of offer which is there, or the other occupants which are there, or other realtors would say, sir, as and when you get, please let us know. So that is the type of thing which they're purely on account of technology and the experience which we have been able to build. That has compelled us to look for whatever emerging trends are there, to adopt that. So almost 5-6 years back, people have been started talking about net zero. We are hearing about net zero. Policy framework has also become reasonably now easy to adopt net zero. Our base building consumption itself was low, so energy performance of the building was good. Thereafter, we had experience with rooftop solar. We also had experience with off-site renewables in the form of wind turbine generators. Last 3 years, the policy changed. Last 4 years, it has been the policy. The prices of the solar panels and other things have come down. So it has made things much, much easier to go for net zero. So that is how we were able to take this move for net zero, because we sense karke the market is demanding, the occupants are demanding. Either they are going to have to buy offset certificates which are there, the carbon credits which were there, or we will have to buy. So we said that we will take this lead. Our experience in renewable energy for last 20 years, 25 years, we have been into renewable energy as a separate business vertical. I've been my renewable energy business which is there. I cater to only 60% of my own captive requirements which are there. 40% I'm giving it to other IT buildings, other factories which are there. So it's a business in itself. It has become more viable in the last couple of years.
So you not only are a net zero energy building, you're also helping others become a net zero energy building.
Yes. We have been supplying to one of the largest IT parks which are there in Chennai also with the green power. And going forward, number of hotels which are there, we are supplying to hotels and some factories. So I've been telling Karke it makes sense to go green. In fact, net zero, today it's a business proposition. It makes huge commercial sense for large consumers of power to go in for renewable energy, because the tariffs which are there currently, it is favoring to have your own captive power consumption.
Absolutely. I mean, one thing that catches my attention, a noteworthy initiative by the Olympia Tech Park, a 1.1 megawatt solar plant on the rooftop that not only generates power but also acts as a shading device for your roof. It does not let the heat come into the building. So you have had a dual decarbonization, production of solar energy on one side and stopping the additional heat. And for people who know, Chennai being very close to the equator, most of our heat gains happen through the rooftop. And you have actually just cut it down very smartly while generating energy. And it's very difficult to fathom having a 1.1 megawatt capacity solar plant within a campus. I mean, I can understand if we run into a few 50 acres or 100 acres, but with the limited space, what prompted you to do that?
See, for last 15 years, I've been, a member of the Indian Green Building Council, and I've been eagerly looking forward to attend the meetings which were there, and even the conferences which are there, our Congress, the annual Congress. The reason which I would go for these particular meetings is that I would be meeting intellectuals from across the country, architects, consultants, manufacturers, some of the best of the people in this particular trade of sustainability would be there. And what I could adopt as a technology or idea which I will be able to implement in my own facilities which were there or in my own domain, I would feel very happy. So we cleared off the roof, whatever was possible, and we tried to get as much. And fortunately, we had a fairly large roof, almost 1 lakh and 20,000 square feet, 1,30,000 square feet of roof space which was there. He said we will go with the rooftop solar. And the projection which was given, there was a projection which was given that there would going to be an annual derating of 1% or so. But it's 7 years, I have not seen any derating which is there. It has performed very well. It is not that it is maintained that great or I'm using RO water to clean the panels which are there. It is regular water we use, and the rains which are there, they clean the whole particular thing. We had other constraints that I was not able to lift the panels too much and orient it because of the height restrictions which we had. So in spite of that would have probably improved the generation by, in those days, 6-7 years back when we installed, bifacials were not very popular. So in spite of that, the generation has been so good. The payback has been hardly about 4 years to 4.5 years. So in 5 years, we have got the money back totally. And I will say that it is, if anyone is not using his roof for a rooftop solar, he is losing out a great opportunity. Great opportunity. It is the lowest hanging fruit insofar as a commercial proposition is concerned. If you are looking at an ROI from your asset, be it a home or be it an office, if an inch of roof space, if you're not able to use it for rooftop solar, then you are losing out a great opportunity.
Right. That also brings me to the next question. I've had the opportunity of working with you and team across this net zero journey in terms of checking up the viability, possible options to offset, so on and so forth. One challenge that we faced was in the months of October, November, December, and January, when Chennai's climatic condition can, behave in a very, very how do I put it, unpredictable manner. We have overcast conditions, we have sudden downpours, and because of this, the wind generation stops, it becomes stagnant. So your wind farms essentially are not producing power. And then because it has become overcast, the solar panels productivity comes down. And despite this, we have achieved a 95% renewable energy mix in our overall consumption. Could you, for the benefit of more such MNCs trying to achieve the net zero status, explain what it is to get a net zero status in Tamil Nadu? I would also want to set the context for this. Tamil Nadu is one of the states that has a very high renewable energy mix overall. Projections say that 50% of our energy is RE. The grid energy that we consume is comprises of RE, but then this is restricted to the period between end of February to end of September. And after that starts the difficult period. So despite this, how did we actually ensure that 95% RE mix, which is by the way very stringent?
Girish rightly said, during this season when my own renewable powers are not available, I will have to look at sources which are there where I would be able to get. And we come across the power exchange. In the power exchange also, the power is available which is renewable as well as which is not renewable. So the renewable we need to pay a small premium. So we do pay a premium, and then we buy whenever we feel that we will not be able to meet the requirement of the renewable power. So once we are done the analysis with you, and you said that there is 95% I need to meet, and we constantly keep monitoring what is month on month, what is the power consumption, how much I've done within this margin of 5%, which I need to make up for the whole year. So how I need to achieve. So wherever there has been a need, we have paid a premium and purchased the power from the exchange, so that renewable power from the exchange, so that we fulfill the obligation. This is one particular part. The second thing is monitoring of the power and the power consumption. I told you, Karke, there are certain technologies which are there. They have been there. They have been there for ages. So even in our place, the meters and sensors, they have been there right from day one. But then there was not any need for us to do a deep dive into the power consumption and the power consumption pattern, because the option available to us was the end of the month data, how much of BTU each of the AHUs have consumed. So evaluate that particular, make a billing for that. How much of kilowatt hour has been consumed, bill it to the occupant. How much of the kilowatt hour has been drawn from the electricity grid which is there. Again, that is divided into 4 or 5 time zones which are there, and they make a billing which is there, and we would back to back work out an average price which is there, blended price of diesel power versus electricity power, and then bill it to the occupant. So that was the need which was there then, and we have been doing it. So we didn't need anything more. But then we are aware that the government Central Electricity Act has been amended, and the time of production of power and time of consumption of power will have to be matched on almost a real time basis. So currently you have 4 or 5 time zones which were there, and that too it is cumulated in the end of the month and billed for each of the time zone. Going forward, it is every 15 minutes of the day you need to have your consumption and generation to be matched. That is what is going to be a challenge. So that has still not got implemented. The act has been passed. Even TNERC has also given a go-ahead for the Tamil Nadu government to roll it out. But then the implementation is a challenge, because meters are got to be there, billing methodologies, how we are going to offset, all these particular things need to be in place. So we believe that probably 2026, if not 2027, this could become a reality. So we wanted to grapple with, unless I have the data, what is my consumption pattern, I don't know. I only know that Saturday, Sunday the occupancy is low, Monday also the occupancy is low, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday is high, again Friday it is low, and Saturday, Sunday it is again the occupancy comes down. Within this particular thing, what time of the day I have my more power consumption, when it is lower, how it behaves, is there any correlation between number of people coming, whether the weather today is a sunny weather, what happens, whether it is a cloud, what happens, when it is a rain, what happens. These particular data have not been available with us. Girish, we are seeing quite a lot of digital twin and use of AI. If we look at the ambulances itself, the way the ambulances move or way the organs move from one place to another place, the route optimization is there, and they are able to use that particular thing and then move fast. Even if we look at hospitals which are there, how the surgeries take place. I had seen in one of the program on Netflix that before a surgery is performed, the surgeons use and the all the parameters of that of a patient, including the ailment which are there, and with the virtual reality glasses, they perform the simulation of an operation, and then they optimize the whole sequence. What impact will this have on the built environment which is there, existing built environment, and the future built environment which is there? How these type of technologies will make a difference?
I think digital twin has already taken over the built environment. To start with, today in many parts of the world, building information modeling with levels of details 200, 300, 400, it's a mandate to ensure clash detection so that people after construction do not identify the issues, rather it's done virtually. Specifically, from an energy optimization perspective, our digital twin has two very important roles to play. One, the number of buildings that are going to come up in the next 10 years, it's 2x. Whatever we have today is just going to double itself if we do not use these technologies to optimize these buildings' performance in advance. It can be choice of materials, choice of glasses. For every small little change, we can see what is the drop in tonnage. Because this drop in tonnage is essentially what's causing 75 to 80% of our consumption. And every time a new building comes up, we have to go for new thermal plants to cater to these buildings. So source level optimization. So non-negotiable, almost all our standards require energy modeling to be done and these buildings to be optimized even at a design stage. Now, even during the operational stage, there is something called as a calibrated energy modeling, calibrated digital twin, which we have done for our Olympia Tech Park model as well. We had created to see which side of the building is getting differentially heated, are the glass working fine. So given the condition that 80% of the buildings that operate today will continue to operate in 2050. So the whole idea is it's easier to retrofit these buildings and decarbonize rather than to raise them down and construct new buildings in that place. So cities like Singapore have a plan to get 80% of their city green by 2030. So these technologies are being used far and wide, wherein these digital twins give us an insight as to which technology when incorporated would give what percentage of savings. So this does not have to be done on the live building. This can be done on the virtual replica and call can be taken. So that way the payback is faster, investment on the right technology is encouraged. So that's the direction in which we are moving
I
forward.
think when we look at an ROI, this on an existing building, what the impact of technology, we are not going to be speculating, but you would have the exact data available based on the past which is there, as well as implementing these technologies, what type of saving you could do, exact calculation. So the decision making is going to be much faster. So the existing data which was there, to clean that itself took time because we have never used it. Some of the sensors were not working, some of the data were error. So it took them about 2 months to clean this particular thing. Last month we have got a clean report which is there. That gives us on a real time basis how the power is getting consumed, how the air conditioning usage is there. And now we are probably expanding this particular study to the entire building. And thanks to our meeting with you today, you said that all the past data is available, the satellite data is available of the temperature and rains and other thing. So we would probably look at, I told these people to really look at how he could use the past data, use some AI tools which are there, and then predict that how it is going to behave in the next 12 months. On a 12-month, how it is going to be. We are trying to bring in a lot of other things. It's not only the temperature which is there of the day, occupancy of the day at a given point of time, because people come in and go. Fortunately, whole thing is monitored. Everyone has an access card. So once he swipes an access card, he moves into his office. When he walks out, again he uses his access card. There could be errors here and there, but then by and large the data is available. We are trying to correlate with occupancy and the ambient temperature and the seasonality, and then try to predict whether it's a holiday, whether it's a rainy day, during monsoon, how the power consumption is going to be there. And that we are trying to map with the SCADA details of our the off-site wind and solar, and try to see where we stand. So next step is we would probably looking at investing on energy storage so that we are able to meet the if I have a peak requirement and I'm not able to have the consumption, then I need to have at least some sort of a storage that I'll be able to use it later. Similarly, on site, we are looking at even to go with some sort of a thermal storage, that so maybe in the night I could store, or whenever I have higher power, I could use that particular power for storage and then use it. So I'm very clear before the government comes with the scheme that on a real time basis you need to be offset. I would like to be prepared for it. I'd like to be prepared.
Anyways, in one response, you have actually summarized multiple attributes. I think I'd also have to thank the IGBC team over here who have traveled with us for the last couple of years in helping us meet this goal. It's one thing to set the intent forward, it's another thing to actually bring it to realization. What you have expressed in your response is that Tamil Nadu as such does not have a renewable energy that's being provided as a specific tariff. I know it's in papers, but it's not come into action yet. But then one thing that I've definitely got to mention over here is the input that we got from the IGBC team saying when Tamil Nadu faces a low period in terms of lack of wind or lack of solar energy because of overcast condition, wind conditions, and so on. There is some other part of the country in the northern side where there's a lot of hydroelectric power being generated because of these immense rains getting converted into energy and the water flow, etc. There are certain parts of the country where biomass energy is being produced, and certain parts of the country where the situation is so conducive that solar energy is actually coming out at a good rate. So why don't you take a look at procuring that power? So that was a very interesting insight which actually helped us get to that 95%. You also brought about the topic that right now you are taking a look at your building just at a building level, but the larger goal here is to see how you can influence the other buildings around you to adopt the same thing using your learnings and providing, again coming back to the same topic, a fertile bed for R&D. And over a period of time, maybe that community, maybe a city. So we started at a cellular level and now we are talking at a community and a city level. What do you think that transition is going to be?
Girish, if you see, Karke, the building which is there has adopted, which I would call low-hanging fruits, which everyone, when designing a building, will have to be sensitive to it. And I've been following this for the last 20 years. I never compromise on certain basic things which are there, more so simple things like passive architecture. I will be sensitive to this particularly if my building is having an orientation towards south or west. I need to have something to protect. I'm not going to indiscriminately use a glass. I'm proud to say that even a small building which we have built, it could be a 40,000 or a 50,000 square building, we have never compromised on the building envelope. Every building of mine will have a soft coated glass, it will have a double glazed glass which is there in the facade. So also wherever possible we would use the ACC blocks which are there, and if a building were to be large like Olympia Technology Park, to reduce the heat we would have some sort of an SRI coating on the roof. And as it is, having the solar panels on the roof adds to additional shading which is there to the roof, which is a necessity which is there, because 1/3 of the roof as it is mandatorily we need to cover. But then I try to cover 100% of the roof with whatever space is available, a shadow free space is available on the roof. I would not allow to lose a bit of that particular thing. So that is, insofar as the building envelope is concerned, we have been doing this. Our investment, every building of mine would have water cooled chillers. I am very clear, Karke, it has to reduce my power consumption. The concept in 2004, Chennai is water starved, so you need to have only air cooled chiller. This is what used to be the, any RFP which would come, all the IPs would say, sir, water cooled chiller is, air cooled chiller is what is required. Air cooled chiller is required. So we had air cooled chillers. It is when I understood the importance of water cooled COP and air cooled COP, we said we need to go for and water cooled chiller. I went in for a hybrid system. I installed water cooled chiller. I informed the tenants that this is going to bring down your cost. On a revenue share basis, we will invest this particular technology. Every tenant accepted. We invested in water cooled chiller, and I said in first 2 years I will recover my cost. Thereafter it will be 50-50. 50% savings will be passed on to you, 50% will be for me. It has been going on for so many years. From one water cooled chiller we added second water cooled chiller. Today the air cooled chillers are there only as a standby. Maybe 1 or 2 chillers in the peak summer load is what we are trying to use. If not, there is no need. And after my experience here, all my buildings which are there, unless it's a very small building where I have to go for a VRV machines, then it is one part. If not, we go only with water cooled chillers.
So apart from being a net zero energy facility, we are also a near net zero water facility. What are all the initiatives that have gone into achieving this particular feat?
If you look at the IGBC rating itself, insofar as water conservation, one of the first thing is low flow fixtures. So, I was fascinated what it is, how is it. So, in 2004-5, we also evaluated even waterless urinals which are there. But then that had its own challenge with how we did try it out. A couple of our tenants also tried it out, but ultimately they had to remove those and then go in for low flow water ones. So we have been able to reduce the fixture selection itself is such that it will consume less water. There is no end to innovation is what we have been talking about. Even after that, now the small aerators have come. So we are installing those aerators. Aerators are also reducing the water consumption which is there, and at least it gives you a feel that the you get the comfort of having achieved certain hygiene level with the water which is there. So right from the design stage itself, it is the low flow fixtures which have gone into the plumbing lines to reduce the water consumption. And I had mentioned to you that state of the art STP plant is there, and the cooling tower which we are having because we are having water cooled chillers. So the entire STP, the wastewater which is there, is becoming a resource for us. We are recycling the 100% of the wastewater and then using it for flushing again, thereafter using it for the cooling tower, thereafter the water which comes out of the cooling tower, we are using it for the garden. So this is the situation is there. 100% of the water is being reused. So to that extent, we are near net zero, because we can't be net zero. Percolation and nothing is less. Second is, even when the rains are there, the stormwater drains which are there, the stormwater drains, the network which is there is connected to a collection sump. So the water which is there first is lying in the collection sump, overflow only goes into the stormwater drain outside the campus. So our effort has been to have rainwater harvesting. To whatever extent we are able to harvest the rainwater, we harvest the rainwater. Thereafter, whatever runoff is there, we try to collect it in the sump which is there. Excess thereof goes away into the into the stormwater drain. Another interesting thing is, see, there's no end to innovation is what we've been talking about. In one of the meetings, we heard about the condensate which is there of the AHUs. So every air conditioner, you see buckets of water comes out. Even a home air conditioner, a few buckets of water may come out in 8 hours or 10 hours of operation. So we have been fascinated by that, and we worked out. As such, earlier the entire condensate water, we had connected it and put it into the sump. The sump has three sources. A little bit of a groundwater which oozes out on account of the site condition, that has been going into that. Fresh water which we are buying going into that. Plus this condensate water has also been going into it. This condensate water is a very, very expensive resource which is available free of cost, because it is almost with nil TDS. There's no salt. It is just the water vapor which is there in the air. It is getting condensed on account of the temperature difference, and we have been able to collect it and reuse it. We did a calculation and we were told that almost 50,000 liters of water every day is getting through the condensate which is adding to the water. And it's a pure water which is available. So we were using it. So last 10-12 years, this is what has been there. Again, in the course of one of the IGBC meeting with professionals like you, one point came up was, it is not just the water with low TDS, but this water has low temperature. So why are we just putting it into the sump? Immediately I came back to the office and said, my new building which is there, water should not go into the sump, the Olympia cyberspace. I want to have some sort of a collection mechanism and some sort of a small pump. This water, I want you to pump it directly into the cooling tower, so that once it goes into the cooling tower, as it is, I have to replace the water once the TDS goes up. So this I'm going to add nil water. My replacement, what you call this wake up water, will come down. More important, this 15 degree water which is there, I'll be blending it with 27 degree or a 30 degree water which is there. I'll be able to bring down the temperature.
And the overall efficiency goes up.
Even if it is marginally, whatever it is, at least I have not lost that particular heat. So I just try to take the best of the ideas. Even a small idea, if you give it is possible to implement it, I would look at implementing it. I don't think too many people would have this particular thing. Of course, using the air conditioning, the condensate which is there for domestic use, that is becoming popular. But using the temperature difference, not too many people would have attempted just take it directly. If you look at large residential apartments, you have air condition which is there. People would have put it on the balcony. The AC would be there. From there is a drain which is there. They'll put the water into the drain. I think in a new I've stopped doing residential building. I would love if I were to do a new building. I would see to it that I have a plumbing line which is kept exclusively for this air conditioning, the outdoor unit, the condensate which is there, and to take it to the raw water collection sump.
This is happening as you speak. There are residential communities in Chennai that are having a very specific line to collect the condensate water, treat it because there might be a little bit of algal growth, and using it to cool their clubhouse and thereby.
Oh,
So,
clubhouse.
so when you have 3,000 apartments, we are envisaging somewhere similar. We are talking about 3,000 into 2, 6,000 tons of air conditioning, which translates into
Even 8 hour of usage.
8 hour of usage. We are talking about 48,000 liters of water every night, and a little bit maybe during the daytime. And Chennai being a humid condition, we do get a lot of condensate water output at a cooler temperature. So it's a no-brainer. But this point, I think, has been conveyed to the Green Building Council as well, and that's going to be a part of the standard really soon.
I think it will be great across the country. If this is done, this could become a great movement to get fresh water. So this is insofar as water we have been able to do. Our experience has been very good. Today I'm proud to say that the water which comes out of my STP, I told even earlier, it is crystal clear. And you cannot make out that this is a treated water which is there, the STP. So the sewage has now become a resource. Of course it costs a little bit of a money, but then I don't have the hassle. If I were to move to the net zero as a concept, including my supply chain, maybe the water which comes from the tanker also, I'm offsetting by using this particular water.
I think it's been a wonderful interaction, sir. We have exchanged a lot of technical knowledge. We have exchanged what happens at a government level, what happens at the people level. But coming back, I think developers like you are bringing about the change. So, from that perspective, what would your message to the developer community be to make the world a better place, a much more sustainable place?
One is do not adopt the attitude of I know everything. So be open to looking at technologies which are there. Innovation is something which is constant, and you need to keep your eyes and ears open. I have seen number of developers or people or the facility managers who are there. When a consultant comes, also he says, "You keep quiet, you do like this." I mean, that should not be the attitude. Invest in technology. Don't hesitate in investing in technology. It is not just the cost which you need to look at. You need to look at the payback also if you're making an investment. I know it is very difficult decisions which are there, because on the one hand the market is very competitive. You need to be cost competitive. You can't afford to. I've seen developers, big developers, not going in for IGBC certification for their buildings just because it is going to cost me 10 lakh. It's going to increase my cost by 2 rupees, and the fear that my cost of construction may go up by another 50 rupees a square feet. So that particular thing which is there, please do not be afraid. It's an investment you're making in the long run. It's a necessity rather than a compliance. And today, like you said earlier, that if you comply with the law of the land, your building is going to be certified green, because if every building which is there, like energy ECBC sustainable code which is there, which is passed by the parliament, and if it needs to be implemented by the state, every building which is going to have, including residential building, will need to comply with the stringent codal requirement. So we need to understand that it is a necessity. We need to be proactive. Do not hesitate to invest in a technology. Yes, it's quite possible out of 10 things, one of the item may not give you the desired results. I've also had a number of times where I've invested in certain technologies. Maybe it was a little before time, and that technology did not mature enough for us to make it commercially a viable situation. But that should not stop us. I can't go back to using bamboos in building for scaffolding when the steel scaffolding is available. People have moved from steel scaffolding to aluminium formwork, to a lot of other technology, precast and other things they have moved to. So you can't be moving back to bamboo just because it is going to save time. So do not hesitate to invest in technology. Keep yourself abreast, have open ideas which are there to receive the best of the ideas and to look at implementing them.
Perfect. I also, in many ways, think that there's an equivalent amount of stakeholder participation that is required. I think one part which should definitely said is multiple people giving the ideas and all taken into account before a decision is passed. But then the occupant who's also a part of this building needs to understand that he's a part of a sustainable environment and he has a responsibility to fulfill. It could be something as simple as putting the dry waste into the dry waste bin and wet waste into the wet waste bin, just like we spoke a few minutes ago. But that definitely translates into many other avenues of life. Tomorrow, when he's in the streets, he's going to look out for a dustbin to drop the waste rather than just dropping it out of his car, which we still face in our country. So that behavioral change has to come. So it just cannot be a top down approach, it also has to be a bottom up approach, wherein a developer like you and an occupant like me, we meet halfway to make sure that the community that we live in is sustainable, clean, and in so many other ways caters to other forms of ecology as well.
Hey, I agree with you. The only mantra here I will say is advocacy, advocacy, advocacy. So there is nothing else. You will have to keep pushing because it's an attitude which is there. Like when we ourselves go to Singapore, you raised this example some time back was people drop it. Even if we see a paper, we are compelled to lift the paper and then put it and it is the same person when we are traveling in our own city, when we are walking in a mall also, we may be having some sort of a chocolate, we may just throw the wrapper out. So it's an attitude which is there where we need to push, of course. Carrot and stick both are there. So here the government will also have to do its role. But then we are an evolving economy. We are evolving as a developing country. So there could be these are some of the pain, but nothing but advocacy is there. We cannot stop. We will have to do if there is a will. If I can at least control my environment, my campus which is there, I can start with that. If I am making it stringent that yes, this needs to be followed, and if there is going to be a follow-up that yes, you have agreed to it, and if you have not followed, what next? I'm sure that will change the attitude of the people. It's a matter of time we will have to accept these particular things, and this will become a part of our life. I take a look at my own thing. We started this concept of the organic waste composter which was there. I tried in my own house what to do, what not to do. I first came with, various that bokashi, what was that Japanese technology which was there of anaerobic bokashi bins which were there. Did a couple of bins. But then I can't be doing it. I'll have to depend on my person to do it. He's not going to implement it. We stopped that. Then we got the regular bin which was there, organic waste composter which was there, the aerobic ones. So that has been working. But then on and off, I have to go and see, Arey Baba, what happened? Why are you not using? Why are you throwing the vegetable waste outside? So it's difficult. But then at least today awareness is there. Tools are available. I just have to go to Google, look for what is there, and I should be able to implement. It's not that only a 1-ton organic waste composter is going to work. Even a 10 kg waste composter is going to work as efficiently as that of a 1-ton. So advocacy is there. Knowledge is available. Attitude we need to change.
Thank you, sir. It's been a pleasure. And we look forward to catching up with you again for more such programs.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Girish. Thank you very much. I really enjoyed this particular program. Thank you.
For more such insightful information, conversation, and case studies, stay tuned to the IGBC Green Talk series.